The US Congress has voted in favour of new legislation which could lead to social media app TikTok being banned in the United States. As we've reported, the Australian government appears at this stage reluctant to follow suit. Let's go live to former Speaker of the House, Andrew Wallace. Andrew, thanks for your time. You've got some views on this one. The government says it's taking advice, appropriate advice from agencies. Isn't that the way to handle these matters?
I think Australians are looking for political leadership from this government on this issue. And if you look at how we handled the Huawei issue when we were in government, we led the world. We didn't wait for other countries. We led the world. We led Five Eyes countries in how we dealt with a very significant risk. And we've been pointing out for a number of years now about the risk in relation to TikTok and the threat that it poses to not just to democracy in Australia, but also to the security of Australian citizens. You know, there are millions of people on TikTok, and we know that because of Chinese laws that TikTok has to share, if requested, the sensitive data of Australians. And we just don't think that's acceptable in today's day and age. And we're calling on the government to appropriately act. And if that means, and it does mean, we suggest that we should be introducing similar bill to what's just passed the House of Reps in the US overnight.
It's got to go through the Senate there too. But
Yep.
Just to be devil's advocate here, what would you say to those younger people who are on TikTok and use it just for a bit of fun or communication with their mates? There's, hardly divulging state secrets. Do you get my sense? If they're happy with what they're doing and it's popular, are we overreacting?
No, I don't think so. I think the risk with a company like TikTok is that every single keystroke that young people are making on TikTok is able to be tracked. Their personal data is able to be tracked. Now, the same could be said for other companies' social media platforms like Facebook, for example. But where, because of the arrangements, the law in China as it currently stands, TikTok's parent company ByteDance has to share that data, that information on Australians and everybody else who's on that platform with the Chinese Communist Party. And we don't think that's appropriate. We don't think it's appropriate where we know that the Chinese Communist Party is actively involved in trying to disrupt democracies around the world, and Australia is not immune from that. We understand that there are many young people who don't see the nefarious nature of TikTok, but the facts are there, and it is not just a harmless tool. It's not just something that for exchanging cat videos on. It's something that young people and older alike in Australia need to be cognizant of the threats that are involved.
The Shadow Home Affairs Minister, James Paterson, says he would have liked to have seen Home Affairs already coming to the government with draft legislation on a potential ban here too. The opposition leader says the Prime Minister should show leadership on this issue. What needs to happen next week, do you think? And what should the opposition do? Should you harden up the calls for a ban? What would you like to see when Parliament returns next week on this matter?
As I said, the Australians are looking for political leadership from this Prime Minister in so many respects, but particularly in relation to national security. I'm very confident that Peter Dutton and James Paterson would support a bill which would see, in effect, a replication of the US bill, which would require divestiture or face TikTok being banned in Australia.
Andrew Wallace, Liberal MP, former Speaker of the House, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Kieran.